Hello and welcome to Birdeye Live, the show dedicated to the digital transformation of local businesses everywhere. I am your host, Justin Meredith, and join me as we learn from industry experts about the how and the why for taking your business online and claiming the most valuable real estate on the internet, that first page of Google. If you're tuning in live right now, feel free to say hello in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And for those who have not heard by now, September 12th and 13th, we will be having the Birdeye's first ever virtual conference, Birdeye View. This free 2-day event will consist of over 20 different sessions hosted by industry experts that cover everything you need to know about building a winning online reputation in 2023. You'll learn how to improve your Google presence, create a fantastic customer experience, and hear about the latest breakthroughs and trends in artificial intelligence. And today, we are joined by two very, very special guests who will be presenting a keynote session together at Birdeye View. And we were lucky enough to have them join us today to talk about the event and share some of their insights as to what you can expect to learn as an attendee of Birdeye View. And so first, I'd like to welcome Birdeye's Vice President of Product Marketing, Rebecca Caldwell. Welcome, Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Good morning. Happy Friday, Justin. It's a great day.
Awesome. Well, I'd like for us to bring in our second guest. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Absolutely. I am really excited to introduce this guest. This special guest today is a New York Times bestselling author of 7 business books, a founder of 5 multi-million-dollar companies, and a trusted business growth advisor to hundreds of brands, and my personal favorite, the world's second most popular tequila influencer. Justin, please join me in welcoming the one, the only, Baer.
Is it too early? What time is it where you are? Hey, everybody. How's it going? Rebecca, Justin, nice to be here. Love everything Birdeye. What's up?
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm excited to be here. This is going to be fun. And the Birdeye View thing is so cool. And look, I do low-key like 70 events a year, and Birdeye View is one of the best managed, organized, produced events I have ever seen. So kudos to you and the whole team. It is really, really first class, especially considering you haven't been doing it for years and years and years. It's truly impressive. So everybody needs to be a part of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. That was really nice to say.
It's true.
Awesome. Our team will be really happy to hear that. And we're so excited to have you as a guest. And I think the keynote on the 13th is going to be fantastic. You know, for those folks who may not be aware, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite books of yours, Hug Your Haters. And, I was talking to Dave Lehman, who's the president of Birdeye. Yesterday we were chatting, and we have agreed to make it a required reading for every Birdeye employee. Everyone comes on board. It's that good. And it really the philosophy behind everything you talk about in the book is spot on. So for those of us who, aren't as familiar, can you tell us a little bit about it and what it means to hug your haters?
Yeah, when we say haters, what we really mean in the parlance of the book are customers who are unhappy and complain about it. And the reality is that every business are going to have those scenarios where they just don't quite hit every mark and customers are unhappy. But what we find in the research that powers the book is that you have a massive opportunity to build customer empathy, customer advocacy, and even revenue for your organization if you handle that unhappiness the right way. Like the natural human reaction when you get an unhappy customer is to ignore it, because you're like, I don't want to deal with this, and it's uncomfortable, it's awkward, and it makes me feel bad. And so usually what we do is we walk away. And the reality is that just makes it worse because I'm sure everybody tuning in has had this happen at one point, right? You had a problem with a business, you reached out to that business and said, hey, I got a complaint. And then you heard nothing back at all. Silence, totally ghosted. And nobody is like, oh, that makes me feel better about this brand. Like that never happens, right? So my friend Shep Hyken has a great saying, which I'll appropriate here. He says, a customer you ignore is a customer you should be prepared to lose. And I think that's really true, because no response is a response. No response is a response that says we care so little about your dissatisfaction that we won't even acknowledge it. So it turns out, and we mathematically prove this in the book, that when you respond to customers who are unhappy, it actually materially changes their attitudes about your business. It absolutely is the best recipe to hug your haters.
I love that. And that's such a great quote as well. One of the other quotes I really, really liked from the book, and I think this is attributed to you, advertising is a tax paid when you're poor at retaining your current customers. So I'm curious, does that mean that customer service is the new marketing?
I think largely it is. And not only do we talk about it in the Hug Your Haters book, and we'll talk about it again on the 13th at Birdeye View, which you need to tune in for, people. But there's lots of other research from lots of other organizations, right? Birdeye, Gartner, McKinsey, et cetera, that show that today people make business buying decisions largely based on experience, just as much, if not more so, than the price or the item or the service itself. And so when you think about what is customer service starts when the customer experience fails. And it's absolutely true that the organizations that churn through customers, they gain them, they lose them. They gain them, they lose them. It's the leaky bucket metaphor. Those are the organizations that in many cases spend the most money on advertising because they have to. They have to keep replacing people who bail. So the better way to do it is, if somebody's unhappy, you hug them, you manage them, you address them, you make them feel better. And then A, maybe they won't leave. And B, you won't have to pay to replace them.
Makes perfect sense. You talk about this idea when it comes to interacting with those customers, that you should respond to every comment in every channel every time.
Yeah.
That seems really intense. It's a lot of work. So why are you so passionate about that perspective?
Okay. When I say answer every customer in every channel every time, that does seem like a lot. But let's just add some distance there. If you said to me, hey, Jay, our plan in our company is we only answer the phone when it's positive, or we only answer every 5th phone call, right? You're like, what the heck are you talking about? That's crazy, right? But that when it comes online, it's like, oh yeah, we just choose to not respond to that review, or not respond to that email, or not respond to that complaint because we don't have time. Well, make time. Like, do something else less, because we prove it very clearly in the book. And again, we'll talk about this more on the 13th, this notion that when you actually go through that process of responding to customers, it has a measurable impact on their advocacy. So let's say you've got an unhappy customer who logs a complaint, right? And it could be a Google review, it could be Reddit post, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're unhappy. They're mad as hell. They're not going to take it anymore. Instead of just blowing them off, if you respond, if you hug that hater, a couple good things could happen. One, you could turn that person who is unhappy into somebody who is happy. And this actually occurs more than you think, because they typically don't expect you to respond. So when you do, they're like, oh, wow, maybe I misjudged this company. So you could turn them from sad to happy. You could also turn them from super mad to just modestly disappointed. So at least they're not going out of their way to tell their friends that they don't like you, etc. So that takes the kettle off boil, if you will. But the most important thing is that every time you spend time interacting with these kind of customers, you learn so much about your business, right? The insights and intelligence that you can glean from these kind of interactions is really, really critical. And then the very most important thing is we have to understand, especially online, it's not just you and the company. There's a bunch of other people, we call them the spectators, who are watching how you handle this negativity. It's all the people who see those reviews in the future. It's all the people who see the message board posts in the future, or the X post, or the Instagram post, or the LinkedIn post, whatever. There could be dozens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other potential customers who are eating popcorn, watching how you handle this. And wouldn't you want to put your best foot forward in that situation? Obviously, Birdeye software can help make this a little easier for you.
Well, we've got an audience then observing all of these interactions online, right? So yes, we should be responding to all of those comments. It makes perfect sense. So what are the challenges that are holding businesses back from actually doing that? And, what would you recommend that they do to overcome those challenges so that they can actually implement all of these amazing ideas that you're talking about?
I acknowledge that this isn't as easy to do as I just made it sound, but it is very necessary to do. It is worth the time. This is juice that is worth the squeeze. You might need some software assistance. You might need some operational changes. But to find out my recipe for what you need to do, you need to tune in on the 13th for Birdeye View. I'm not going to give you all the stuff here.
You're leaving us hanging, Jay. I love it. I am super excited to continue the conversation on the 13th. Such a pleasure chatting with you today. And we are so excited to see you. Just a quick plug for those of you who haven't registered for View, there is still time to do so. And we are giving out free copies of Hug Your Haters by Baer. So if you haven't had a chance to read it yet, register now, get the book, study it before the events, and we'll have a great conversation.
The book is also better with tequila. I'll just throw that out there.
Everything's better with tequila.
Confirmed.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jay.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Amazing.
What a delight. I am so excited to chat with Jay again on the 13th.
I'm pumped to listen into that keynote session. I think it's going to be really, really good.
Agreed.
So this isn't going to be the only session that we have at Birdeye View. We're going to have a lot of stuff to cover, all kinds of different topics and all kinds of different industries that this can apply to. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the other sessions that people should be sure to tune in for?
Sure. I'm in a really privileged position in the sense that I've had a behind the stage or backstage view of all of the keynote presentations that we're preparing. I've been present for all of the rehearsals, and I am so excited. So on day one, the conference is going to kick off with a keynote presentation from Naveen Gupta, who is our CEO and co-founder. And he's going to make some really exciting product announcements. So you definitely want to tune in for that session. And Naveen is very passionate about local businesses and brands and what the future looks like for them. So really engaging session there. And then immediately after, Dave Lehman, who is our president, is going to sit down with Eric Boyd, who is the senior vice president of AI at Microsoft. And the two of them went to college together at MIT. And they're going to sit down for a conversation about the evolution of AI.
Wow.
So how did we get here? And Eric has all the insights about that from Microsoft's perspective. And then he's going to share some ideas about the future of AI and how Birdeye and Microsoft are working together. So
that's awesome. I'm excited for that one too.
Great.
That's going to be a good one. Yeah.
Great. That's just the morning of day one. So then we're going to go into a ton of really amazing breakout sessions with lots of customers who are going to share, their tips and tricks for reputation management, customer experience management. All of it's going to have a flavor of AI in there. And then we're going to come back to Dave, and he's going to wrap up the day with another conversation about AI. But this time he's going to be connecting with AI experts at Google. So he'll be chatting with Kiran Bellari and Uday, who's the field CTO of Google Cloud, and they're going to sit down and talk about how AI is changing the nature of local search, which is huge, right? So you definitely want to tune in for that.
And this is just for the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So this is just day one. We're not even on to day two yet. That's
right. So yeah, day two, if I can jump ahead. So as you mentioned, kicks off with Jay and I doing our conversation. So grab a cup of coffee and tune in for that, because it's going to be really good energy there. And then immediately after, my boss, Deepak, who is the CMO here at Birdeye, is going to go into a deep dive of all of the Bird AI capabilities that we are launching. He's going to do some demos, and he's going to walk you through a day in the life of a Bird AI user. So if you're curious about knowing exactly how all of these ideas are going to be implemented, you definitely want to tune in for that session. And I will tell you, Deepak brings the energy. I saw his rehearsal. It was awesome. It's going to be a super fun session. And then finally, on both of the days, like I mentioned, we're going to have some incredible breakout sessions with customers and partners, and some awards for folks in the space that are doing some really exceptional things in the areas of reputation and customer experience management.
Wow. This is just a fraction of the sessions that we're going to be having. We're going to have over 20 sessions with over 50 different expert speakers from all kinds of different industries. And
Absolutely.
I'm excited for this. This is going to be a good time.
And Justin, I would be remiss if I didn't call out your session. I'm super excited about that one too. Can you tell me tell everybody else about it who's not in the loop?
So I'm pumped for this one. So I will be doing a session with Google and local SEO experts, Ben Fisher and Steve Wiedemann. If this is not your first Birdeye Live, you may have seen them appear on here as in previous episodes before. They are absolutely incredible, and they also bring the energy, and they do just an excellent job of making some of the really complicated concepts easy to understand. Steve is a part-time professor as well in SEO and local marketing. So he does an amazing job of making it easy to understand how you can elevate your online presence as a local business and get on that first page of Google. We did a little bit of a practice run already, and I am just absolutely pumped for the actual broadcast, because I think we're just going to be diving into some really, really cool stuff.
Absolutely. Every session that the three of you have done has been so informative, so interesting, and I have learned a ton. So I'm definitely tuning in for that one.
Yeah, I have too. I've learned a lot from them too. I feel like I'm starting to kind of get my bearings a little bit more in the local marketing and SEO world, just because I get to it's like their knowledge is, rubbing off on me or something. It's been an absolute blast getting to work with them. So I'm excited for that session. And we've got so many other sessions coming in for this event. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And the best part about this is that it's free. And anybody can register right now. Just click the link in the caption and you're good to go. And even if you're busy on the 12th and the 13th, that's okay, because the recordings will be made available. So there's really no reason to not register at this point. It's just we wanted to provide this sort of educational value to everybody who's going to be registering, because we are entering a crazy new world and a new era of AI. The last 10 months, the last year or so, has really kind of flipped the way that businesses operate on its head. And we are putting this event together because we want to make sure that everybody knows how to move forward with this. And really to make sure that, that you guys can all take advantage of this amazing technology, as well as all these other concepts that we're going to be covering. It's going to be just really, really something. I'm excited for it. But it looks like we are nearing the time that we have for today. So first, I just want to give a special thanks to Jay for joining us today. And thank you, Rebecca, so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope that we can have you again on Birdeye Live soon.
Absolutely. We can geek out about all the fun stuff we learned at the conference.
Yes, we'll have to do a recap stream for sure.
Yes, maybe like a top 10 countdown of our favorite moments from the event. And
that's a good idea. Yeah, I want to put that down to paper, because I think we might need to do that. Well, anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in today. Be sure to register for Birdeye View and to tune in to the next episode of Birdeye Live coming next week, where we will be joined by another special guest who's going to show us some really cool stuff on the AI side of things. Until then, we will see you next time. Thanks.